Hello everyone, this is Blake, Wertz DB71 back with this time I'm going to take a couple of peeks at some books I've been reading. As you well know, I'm a big fan of, books, in addition to the music that I listen to. I probably have to be honest and say I've spent maybe 50% of my time listening to music and 50% of my free time listening or reading books about, mostly nonfiction stuff. Right now I'm on a big music kick, as can be well understood. Let me turn this down a little bit. A recent purchase that I made has inspired me to pull something else back out to listen to, and I'll talk about this other purchase in another video upcoming, because I want to do it some really good justice. But what we're hearing now is Farouk Zebay and the Northwoods Improvisers. Their Cubico release on their Cubico. There's the label right there. Cubico. Called Rwanda. Fantastic stuff. If you don't have it and you dig spiritual jazz, you gotta find it. But you've heard me say that in the past. So while that's playing in the background, I'll talk a little bit about two books that I've recently finished. Rare Birds and Improvisation. We'll do Rare Birds first because I don't want to spend much time on it. Essentially, this is a collection of longer form interviews with 6 musicians, and it's edited, written, interviewed by Thomas Crowe and Nan Watkins. Basically, Crowe is in the North Carolina area, maybe Asheville. I think he's somewhere near Asheville, and in Charleston, South Carolina, which is about probably 3 hours from either Asheville or Charlotte. They do this Spoleto Festival. It's mostly a classical kind of event every summer, but they do have some jazz greats that come through there from time to time. And he has gotten some really good interviews with some folks at this show. Listen. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting here. One of my favorite tunes, Himalayan Footpath on Rwanda. You'll hear it in the background. I'll turn up just a little bit. Love it, love it. Okay, so back to here. He's gotten some interviews, pretty good interviews with Charles Lloyd, Philip Glass, Dalla Brand, his wife, Sathima Bay Benjamin. To be honest, I hadn't heard much at all about her until recently when I started reading, and apparently she is a fantastic vocalist. So that was very interesting to hear what she had to say. This guy is Eugene Friesen. Probably remember him from the Paul Winter Consort, I think, and then Steve Reich. Very good interviews in the sense that there are some pretty deep questions that are asked, and what we have is a transcription of how they responded, these artists. So it makes very good reading, just to try to get into some of these musicians' minds, how they think, what they think about what they're doing, maybe debunk some myths and things like that. Very good stuff, you know. When I got it, of course, for Charles Lloyd and Dalla Brand, because I'm really into their music. But it's also great to hear, you know, Philip Phillips' comments about his work, and Steve Reich, that was really good understanding too. Although he kind of he doesn't come across so well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's just having a bad day. We have those. So very good book, very short, very quick read. It's, I don't know, it's worth getting if you really dig some of these musicians and you want to get more into their mindset. So again, Rare Birds, Thomas Crowe and Nan Watkins. So enough on that one. The really good one, Derek Bailey's Improvisation. So if you've been following my channel, you might remember a video I did, or a couple of videos I did, showing some books that I really dug about music and things of that nature. And I asked other fellow VC participants, tell me some books that I need to read. And Anders came through and says, Blake, you need, if you haven't already read, Improvisation by Derek Bailey. So I bought that practically immediately, but I flipped through it and thought, oh my God, this is pretty detailed stuff. I'm going to need to wait on this. I need to learn more about the music that I'm listening to before I get into this book. And there's another book that he also recommended that I just started called Free Jazz by Eckhard Jost, J-O-S-T. I'll bring that next time through. Anyway, what Derek Bailey does is he doesn't try to teach improvisation. He just talks about it. And like the Rare Birds book, there's a lot of interviews in here just talking with other musicians that delve a lot or practically almost exclusively in improvisational material. And just have them ramble on about what it is that they're doing and what they think about it. This is not a history of improvisation, although in the beginning of the book we're reminded from where music started, really. I mean, it was mostly improvised at the time. And he goes on to talk about improvisation and its influences in Indian music, flamenco, Baroque music, organ music, of course rock and jazz and stuff like that. But it was very interesting to read about what Derek has found in terms of the early literature of classical music and how improvisation was a pretty important part of classical music. But through the years, well, I mean, I guess very, very early on in the between Baroque and the classical period, more and more emphasis on notation and writing music down and stuff like that kind of just squeezed improvisation out. So what was considered, an important trait to be able to improvise, Baroque and earlier, just kind of got squished out. Now, interestingly enough, I'm just speaking about Western classical music, with organists, they still improvise a lot, and it's kind of a quandary why that's accepted in organ music and organ playing, classical organ playing, and not in traditional classical music. But enough of that. That's some historical stuff in there, but it not intended to be a history. And then it basically delves maybe the other half of the book, just talking about various aspects of improvisation. I'll go through some of the chapter titles. The composer and the non-improviser, the composer in practice. Then it's talking about various instruments and a group that Derek Bailey was in. Derek Bailey, guitarist, called Joseph Holbrook. Then some interesting takes on how some people have taught improvisation and their approach to that. Anyway, I'll try to wrap this up. this book really opened my eyes to the various types of improvised music, and I'm finally learning the difference between free music, improvised music, avant-garde music, which can have none or either of that. So reading this was very, very informative. However, it does have a little bit. It will require it. You will gain more if you have a little bit of experience with improvised music. At least trying to listen to it, so you can have something to fall back on when they start talking about a particular musician or style or thing like that, or time period. So if you're new to new jazz, the new music, or free, improvised, out jazz, sit on it a while and listen to some music first. Get a copy of this. It was only like $16. Very, very informative. This is one I'll go back to maybe in 6 months or so, or a year or so, and I'll read again because it's just that much good stuff in here. So thanks very much, Anders. Very good suggestion, and I highly recommend this to anyone interested in improvised music. It really helps explain a lot of goals and a lot of musicians' insights. Unfortunately, I thought I had something, but I do not have anything that I know of with Derek Bailey playing on it. So, Anders, I'm going to come back to you and anybody else in the vinyl community. If you have any Derek Bailey related recordings, I know he had a label called Incus. He may still have the label. Any good recommendations for me or for any others in the vinyl community that we should search out? Let us know about it. I know Derek recorded on a whole bunch of things, but maybe there's some standouts. So let us know, and in the meantime, if you really dig Charles Lloyd Dahlbrand, and you want to learn about his wife and her singing, Philip Glass, Eugene Friesen, and Steve Reich, get Rare Birds. It's a good read, but most definitely pick up Improvisation. Again, another pretty thin book, but very, very well worth it. Derek does not hold back on this one, so it's good, and a great cover too. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So there you go, and we'll come back around again soon. Well, that's all I need to say. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.